The Philly shell defense, when executed to perfection, has created some of the flashiest highlights in boxing. At the championship level, Philly shell fighters have a few consistent hallmarks: a low lead hand and high power hand, a bladed stance, the cornerstone of the style is the shoulder roll. With a simple twist of the torso, the lead shoulder gets between an opponent's right hand and its intended target. This opens up a vast counterpunching game.
Right hand right there. All night long he's been coming back with a counter overhand right there.
The masters of this style are some of the most efficient and accurate fighters in boxing. Throughout history, certain tactics have given even the masters of the Philly shell fits. Tonight, we sweat the technique. Let's break down how the left hook turns the Philly shell into the Philly coffin. Any attempt at breaking down a Philly shell fighter has to start from the ground up. The offense that places the body as the first priority will draw an opponent's defense down. Because the simple fact is, it's so easy to forget when you watch from the stands how much body punches hurt. The physical effect of having the wind driven from your lungs tells over time. But a body punch is a unique pain that only familiarity can breed contempt for. Only conditioning makes them tolerable. The worst mistake you can make against the Philly shell is headhunting. There are 3 routes to the body of a Philly shell fighter. The body jab is the safest. The body jab is only a damaging punch when it's allowed to be landed repeatedly. Dropping your weight as you step, you can get a punch hard enough that an opponent can't just ignore it. The body jab makes a great setup to draw the defense down, which can open up a fighter upstairs with either hand and force the Philly shell fighter back with the intention of putting them on the ropes. It is easier to land on opponents with a square stance. A step to an angle just before you throw can improve its accuracy. Don't overuse this. Beware the cross counter over the body jab. Keep the offhand high in case of counter hooks.
Countering as Reese dived in.
Particularly the check hook from a Philly shell fighter when closing the gap. Ring cutting, stepping in at an angle to prevent the Philly shell fighter from getting back out into open space, is key. Punch selection when cutting off the ring and the means to keeping them on the ropes. It's a requirement to have a threat from both hands to be able to punish lateral movement. When they step off the line, meeting them with a hook locks them in place. Going upstairs with these cutoff punches can be risky, since a smart Philly shell user will look to bend at the waist to get under a left hook. Or shoulder roll away an overhand or straight right. You mitigate the risk of this by sending these hooks to the body. Even if they don't land clean, you still spoil a clean getaway. The goal ultimately is to put them on the ropes and open up to the body.
Broner has never been down in his career. A couple of left hooks to the body.
Bonus points for those using collar ties or an underhook to grab hold of a Philly shell user's head while attacking with a free hand. Take what the defense gives. Most will give up the body blows to protect the head, only until the ache sets into the rib cage. But the true key to unlocking the Philly shell is using the pain imposed by bodywork as an opportunity to dictate the pace. Volume punching without getting countered out of your boots is the name of the game.
Power punches. Definitely a smart move for Team Porter to bring Shane Mosley into camp, and Adrian Broner's having a much better round this.
Using bodywork to draw that immaculate defense down before going upstairs. Double-ups with the same hand can be hell on a Philly shell user, particularly if you can establish a healthy fear of the body shot. Dropping a hard shot to the body draws the hand on that side down as a natural pain response. It creates an opening upstairs.
Exactly where Shawn Porter's got to be right there. You see, he's getting his hands free. He's digging the body of Adrian and finishing back up top.
You can play off this dynamic to work, greatly increasing your accuracy against the shell. This can work with right hands too. You go around that lead elbow to get to the kidney with a right to the body. It can open up an overhand right to the head. It's easier to land the right to the kidney the more side on the Philly shell fighter stands. If you can land this punch, the overhand right can open up. For this reason, and because fighting in a super bladed stance nerfs the Philly shell fighter's offense, fighting to one side can be a mistake in the Philly shell, because the Philly shell defense is reliant on the shoulder roll and the general motion of torso twist. The orthodox attack patterns are largely out the window. The traditional, more natural-feeling straight 1-2 will only feed their counterpunching game. You'll have more success here with compact bodywork and wild overhands than with the more classical approach. You'll have far more success hooking off the jab and jabbing off the hook. This works both high and low. When a Philly shell fighter is unable to use the shoulder roll as a centerpiece to their counterpunching, it all gets easier. The single most important punch against most practitioners of the Philly shell should initially be the left hook. If you can elicit a response from the left hook, either to the body or head, it all gets easier. Because the defense is to absorb the impact, duck under it, or counter preemptively. Absorbing isn't great because it's still taking all the force of the punch. It's the lowest form of defense since it rarely provides the clean counter opportunities Philly shell guys love so much. Plus, anytime an arm is being used to block, it isn't being used to punch. If they decide to absorb the hook, it can also open up the jab. Taking what the defense gives up while keeping your punch count high. Ducking under the left hook provides opportunities for the offensive fighter to frame up and pin the Philly shell user in positions where they are off balance and incapable of countering properly. When they duck forward, you will see fighters drop a forearm on the back of their neck, which is denying the Philly shell guy his counterfighting A-game. Or better yet, framing can open up more free punches as they struggle to regain their composure. If a Philly shell guy is repeatedly ducking the hook, either the hook needs to go to the body, or you need to split a second and wait for them to come out of the crouch. You can't punch doubled over. Eventually, they have to return upright. Timing the return as they come back up with an overhand can be a devastating punch, but it only appears if you can get them trying to duck the left hook. Feinting the left hook can elicit this defense. The adjustment the Philly shell guys make is often to start leading with right hands to get inside of the wide hook. But if we are this far down the rabbit hole of talking counters to counters to counters, then well, it seems like exactly the type of chaos most Philly shell users are generally trying to limit, because dragging an elegant style down in the muck beats getting clean swept on the cards.